What is up, Insaners, and welcome to our Double Game Week 34 team selection video where we'll talk about a team for Game Week 34. Through this video, we'll look at the confirmed Double Game Week fixtures and talk about a few popular transfer moves. I'll also cover our transfer strategies and players that we're planning to bring in this week, and we'll finish this one with the best captaincy options for this week. Now, in case if you want some detailed information on wildcarding this week, and if you want to know if it's the best strategy or not, we did a strategy guide video earlier in the week, so make sure you check that out as well. The link to that will be in the description and also at the end of this video. Guys, also make sure that you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel as well if you like what you see today. Lots to talk about, and let's jump into it. I will start with the Double Game Week 34 fixtures and which teams to target this week. In terms of the Double Game Week, guys, there are two teams who are doubling in Game Week 34. They're Chelsea and Man United. Now we'll quickly talk about United because there's not to talk about in terms of which players to go for. Yes, they are doubling against Arsenal and Chelsea. The Arsenal game is away and the Chelsea game is at home. But I think both fixtures are quite tricky, guys. Both Arsenal and Chelsea are teams who are looking in form and who are also fighting for the top 4. It looks like they have better players and they have players in form. And I don't think so going for Man United players makes a lot of sense. I'm not very confident regarding a clean sheet in both games, and if they are missing Ronaldo or Ronaldo misses a particular game, maybe the Arsenal game, maybe the Chelsea game, I think they're going to struggle a lot. Now coming to Chelsea, guys, they also have a double. They have West Ham at home and Man United away. Both West Ham and Man United, they are struggling in terms of keeping out goals. They're not able to keep clean sheets. Their defensive numbers are also pretty bad, and I think Chelsea is going to score in both games. They might even keep a clean sheet in maybe one or maybe even two games. So they're definitely a team to target. And let's talk about our team for Game Week 34 and let's see what Chelsea players we're targeting to get in this week. Now starting with our team, guys, we have Ramsdale in goal. I know it's not the ideal situation, but Man United are quite struggling at the moment. They're not really scoring a lot of goals. They're conceding a lot of shots as well. I think there is a chance that Ramsdale can keep a clean sheet. The other option is Sanchez, and I can also play Sanchez ahead of Ramsdale because again Southampton also haven't looked that great. I mean, they're a worse defensive side as compared to them attacking, but I just feel I'll probably go Ramsdale considering that he can also make saves, considering if United take a few shots, etc. I think he can get save points, he can also come into bonus points, and I think clean sheet could be a possibility here. In terms of a defense, guys, we have Robertson, we have Cancelo, we also have Rudiger from Chelsea who has a double, but I think he might be a doubt, and I think unless we get a certainty in terms of him not playing this week, we might just carry on with him. But yes, there is a consideration that we might take him out this week and get in a different Chelsea defender. In terms of a fourth playing defender this week, we're ideally playing a 4-3-3, and Schär is a decent option to go for. I think Norwich have not done that well. Yes, they can still score, but you would probably back the Newcastle defender to probably even keep a clean sheet, maybe get into bonus points, maybe even get an attacking return because we've seen that Schär can get attacking returns, he can get goals. But I think against Norwich, it's a decent fixture to have. In terms of having Robertson and Cancelo, guys, I think Robertson against Everton is looking pretty good. Everton again haven't been that great in terms of attack. They're not scoring a lot of goals. They are fighting with teams in the relegation battle. So that might just motivate them to play a bit more open. But I think that's probably going to suit Liverpool even more, guys. I think the form that they're in right now, it looks like a clean sheet. It can even be attacking returns for the likes of Robertson and Trent. Plus, it's a derby game, guys. I know things can get crazy in derby games, but I just feel Liverpool are probably too strong for Everton at the moment. Cancelo again, Watford at home, it's a good fixture. I think there is definitely a good potential to have a clean sheet from Cancelo, and we know that he can get attacking returns. We know that he is a bonus magnet as well. I think it's a really good fixture for a Man City defender. Even if you have the likes of Laporte, maybe you have a double up with Cancelo and Laporte. I think all of them are good fixtures. Now, in case if you don't have a City defender, I think this is definitely a week where you should target one. I know Chelsea are doubling, but again, Chelsea have been a bit leaky in terms of defense because of some key players missing, because of Kante's bad form. I think they can still concede against both sides. It's just that the Chelsea defenders have such high attacking potential that you don't mind the upside and you don't mind bringing one of them this week. In terms of a midfield, guys, it's a slim midfield. We've gone for Martinelli, we've gone for Salah, and a third midfielder is Kulusevski at the moment. Martinelli has not been doing that great, guys. He has not been getting starts, and I think the move to go for Martinelli over Saka has clearly backfired. I mean, I've come to a situation where I'm actually thinking of disposing of, maybe selling off Martinelli this week and getting in a Chelsea player, but let's see if you're able to do that this week. You could argue that he didn't start the last game, so he can start this one. But Nketiah has done really well in attack, guys. He scored a couple of goals, scored a brace against Chelsea at the bridge. I think that's going to give him a lot of confidence. I think that's also going to give a lot of confidence to Arteta to probably start the likes of Nketiah over Martinelli. So I'm not very confident of him starting this week. We know that the likes of Smith Rowe, Saka, even Odegaard, all of these players have done really well. And I possibly don't think so Martinelli is in the strongest 11 for Arsenal at the moment. Coming to Salah, guys, against Everton, his record has been decent. Now, there are some rumors that he could be rested for this week. We've seen that in the past that he was rested against Everton in derby games. But I just feel the form that he's in right now, and also the fitness that he's showing, he's not a player who gets injured a lot. He's not a player who gets rested a lot. He might start the game, he might just come off a little bit earlier. But I definitely think you have to have him this week. It's not even about this week. I think even if you are probably trying to chase ranks, if you're trying to do some catch up in your mini leagues, etc., I think there are multiple and different ways to kind of do that. I still feel Salah is a permanent player in your team. I think he's a must-have player to own. And I think you should definitely have him. Even if you don't captain him, guys, I still see a lot of merit in having Salah this week. Our third midfielder is Kulusevski, guys. Kulusevski is facing Brentford. Now, we've seen that Brentford could be a tricky team to beat, but I just feel Spurs are probably a little bit too strong for Brentford at the moment. Having said that, guys, Tottenham have not been consistent this season, and there are chances of a slip up. There are chances of maybe a shock result. Might not come as a shock result to a lot of people, but I just feel it might be a close game, and I don't think so Tottenham are going to run away with it. So I'll probably just keep Kulusevski for this week as a Tottenham cover, and we'll talk about what we are doing with the other Tottenham player that we have in our transfer section. Overall, I feel Kulusevski is a safe player. He's definitely going to provide for the likes of Kane and Son, and I think he's a solid 5 to 6 pointer every week, so I'll probably just have him in my team. The attack, guys, right now we are playing a front three. Now this could very well change with the transfers that we will be making, but right now at the moment we have Weghorst who's facing Wolves. Now that could be a tricky fixture. We know that Wolves are a strong defensive side. We know that they don't concede a lot of chances. They don't easily concede goals. But on the other hand, if Burnley have to stay away from the relegation zone, if they have to keep up in the Premier League, they have to start winning games, guys. They have to put some pressure on the likes of Leeds United and Everton, and they have to start against Wolves. They have to definitely score. They have to win this game, and that just might make Weghorst a decent option. Now, I know I'm saying that, but I generally don't like the look of Weghorst, even in the Burnley setup, guys. I mean, he definitely tries to play a lot deeper. He definitely tries to make a lot of the games and plays for Burnley. And I feel there are better options in the Burnley team. I think Cornet could be a better option. I think there are other players as well who might be better picks in terms of fantasy than Weghorst. But at the moment, guys, we don't have a very easy out in terms of Weghorst. I mean, he's not a priority transfer out. We might just ship him out maybe next week or the week after. But right now, he's definitely in our team. Whether he plays for this game week or not, that's a call we have to take. Our other player, our other striker is Adams, guys. He's been so frustrating to own. I mean, I thought it was a decent move to go for by going for him over Broha. But it's definitely not worked out, guys. That money could have been better utilized in some other positions. And he's not started games. I mean, that's the surprise. That he's not been starting games. He's not been getting a lot of minutes. Recently, that is. And I think there's a chance that you can easily downgrade him or maybe go for a different attacker. But I think, guys, for this week, the priority has to be Chelsea. And if we have the Chelsea quota completed, I think the priority should be a Man City asset, should be a Man City attacker, because I think Man City players are going under the radar. So I think he's not a priority sell at the moment, but he's definitely another player that I'm probably looking to move on in a couple of weeks. Our third striker is Harry Kane, guys. Now, a lot of you would argue that Kane against Brentford, I think he should do well. He should be on pens. He's been in great form. He's been scoring goals. He's been assisting Son a lot. But I just feel there is a potential play here by going for somebody like a Werner, which we'll of course discuss in the transfer section. But I just feel if I want to get in, or at least give me a chance to get a bit lucky here, I have to make that move. Again, it's not a necessary move to make, but I just feel the way I play FPL, I like to take a few risks, and we don't have a lot of game weeks left, right? If I have to target a top 10k, which currently I'm at, I think around 25k or 26k, something like that. Now, if I have to target a top 10k, I probably have to take a few chances, and I'm not doing that with Salah. So the other option, the other play the other player who could give me a lot of money or maybe some money to invest in other positions, I think that is definitely Kane. On the bench, guys, we have White, who I think I'm not going to play this week. I think there's not a lot of upside with playing a White against Man United. I already have the Arsenal defense covered in Ramsdale, so probably he's just going to be on the bench. The other options are quite interesting because I have Coutinho who's playing Leicester. Now Leicester, we know that they have a tricky defense. They don't keep out a lot of goals. They're also bad in terms of conceding goals from free kicks, from corners, etc. And I think Coutinho being on those set pieces, I think that could be a big plus. That could add to his advantage. That could even give him a few FPL points here and there. I think it's a very close call to either play him or not this week, and it'll probably just go down to the wire. I'm clearly not transferring him out for a Chelsea player. I think the play here is to probably take out Rafinha, who has some tricky fixtures, who again, I still feel he can do well against a Crystal Palace side, but I just feel I probably should keep Coutinho for that double-double in 36 and 37. So this was our playing 11, our current playing 11 for this week, guys. Now let's talk about our transfer plans. Now one forced transfer that I probably would have to make this week is that I have to take out Rudiger and I probably target a Chelsea defender. Now, according to whatever I've read on Twitter and on different Chelsea forums, etc., I don't think so. Rudiger's probably going to start. Everybody's expecting him to be probably not even in the squad because of the injury. And I think I probably can't take that chance. Now, there is a slight upside with somebody like a James or maybe even Alonso. So I can definitely go for someone from the Chelsea team as a separate defender. Now, I generally like James because of the upside. I know he could play as a right centre back and that probably limits his potential. But in that case, guys, he's definitely going to be in the bonus. I think he's a bonus magnet. And in case if he's playing as a right wing back, he'll put in a lot of balls, he'll put in a lot of crosses. Of course, he'll do a lot of running. And I generally feel I could get a lot of FPL points by making this move. I personally think Alonso might not be that great. Yes, I understand the appeal that he's a lot cheaper than James. He probably is a little more nailed than James in that wingback spot because he doesn't have a lot of competition in that position. But when you talk about returns, when you talk about the way he defends, I'm not very convinced, guys. And if Chelsea, by chance, they switch to a back four, I don't think so Alonso can play in that position. He's definitely more suited to that left wing back position. And I still feel having James is better than having Alonso at the moment, even if he's slightly higher priced than the likes of Alonso. Now, this is a transfer that I probably would have to make. Again, I still want to have one Chelsea defender because there's a chance of a clean sheet and James also has massive attacking upside. So I think I'm probably going to go there, at least in terms of one of my transfers. Now, in a possibility where Rudiger is fit, I don't have to transfer him out, but that's looking quite bleak at the moment. The other transfer options that I have this week is basically taking out Rafinha and getting in Mason Mount from Chelsea. Now, there's a lot of debate in terms of which midfielder to go for, whether to go for Mount, whether to go for Havertz. I think Mount overall is a better rounded player. I think he's more nailed. Yes, he's played a lot of minutes, many minutes than the likes of Havertz, who was rested in the last game. So I'd probably argue that Havertz is going to start both the games in the double. But I still feel if Chelsea play in the current setup, in the new setup that Tuchel has adopted over the last couple of games, I still feel Mount has a better chance of scoring FPL points. He's playing a lot more centrally. He's playing as a number 10. He's getting more of the ball. Of course, we also know that he's on set pieces. Now, there could be an argument that he could be on pens as well if we don't have the likes of Kovacic, maybe even Jorginho on the field. So I think Mason Mount overall is a better long-term pick. Of course, if you're going short-term, if you're probably just punting for 1 week, Havertz might be the play here, but I probably would be having Mason Mount till the end of the season, and I think that's a better pick to go for. In terms of the other transfer, guys, and this is where things get very dangerous and very interesting, I'm taking out Harry Kane, which could be alarming to a lot of you guys, but I just feel there's a lot of upside with going for somebody like a Timo Werner. Now, I know I could end up losing a lot of rank if Werner's probably benched in one of the games and he, let's say, blanks in the other, and probably Kane scores a couple of goals against Brentford. There's a high chance that I lose out rank. But I just feel that, guys, if I want to reach towards that top 10k mark, I have to take a few risks. And I don't want to get rid of Salah. So I think taking out Kane for this particular week, having Timo Werner, who's looking in form, who's looking like a decent player to own, I think that could be a good move. Yes, he also doubles in 36. Now, there could be an argument that a lot of Chelsea players might not feature in both the games in 36 because the Leeds game, which is a second fixture, it's very close to the FA Cup final against Liverpool. I think there's no question about the fact that Chelsea are going to play their strongest lineup in that FA Cup final. Now, whether they play a strong lineup in the Leeds game, whether it's probably the Wolves game, that could be a tricky thing to call. But I just feel Werner in this particular week, in double game week 34, I think he could get both starts. Considering how bad Lukaku was when he was playing in the last game against Arsenal, I think Werner's probably going to start both games, and there could be a chance that he can get a few returns, giving me that massive upside, guys. Now, the last transfer option is probably looking like a luxury move at the moment, guys. Now, if in case Rudiger is fit and he's okay to go, I probably would definitely hold him. I'm not going to go for James. And that scenario, guys, I definitely have the money to go for a Foden over a Martinelli. Martinelli's not done too much for me, who's been a frustrating asset to own. I think I can go for Foden, who's a bit underrated at the moment. I don't think so. A lot of people are considering Man City attackers like Foden, Mahrez, Sterling, and Kevin De Bruyne because of the Chelsea double game week fixtures. I feel Foden could be a very cheeky punt, and I think he could be a decent option to go for. He looks like that he's in form, he's been playing well, he's been playing a lot of minutes. So some of you might argue that he might get rested in this game week. Now that is definitely a possibility. So another bit of risk involved here. But I think Rudiger's probably going to be out. So I'll probably just end up making that James move. So as these are my transfer plans, I'm definitely thinking of taking a -8. Now which direction I'll be going, that depends on the Rudiger injury news. But these are my plans for Game Week 34. What moves are you planning for Game Week 34? Do let me know in the comments below. With that, guys, let's dive into captaincy for Game Week 34. I don't think so there's any debate in terms of a lot of people this week going for Chelsea assets, guys. And I think the likes of Havertz, Mount, and even James all are really good picks to go for. Of course, they are a bit risky. I think if you ask me, the safest pick has to be Mason Mount. Havertz and James are a bit tricky at the moment, considering that they might not play both games. They might not start both games. I think both of them are definitely going to feature in both games, but they might not end up starting games. Having said that, guys, even Mount can miss a game, but I just feel he's a bit more consistent. He's a bit more safer. So if you want to go for a Chelsea player and if you want to play a bit safer, I think Mount is the option to go for. We know the potential of James. Yes, there's also a chance of clean sheets. So if you are okay taking a bit of a risk, then James is also a good pick. In terms of differential picks, guys, don't forget the single game week players. We have Mo Salah against Everton in a derby game in that form. Like we saw last game week, guys, Salah ended up outscoring all the popular captaincy options for double game week 33. And that could happen again, guys. There could be a massive haul in for Salah. And I'm personally not very sure in terms of going for a Chelsea asset. I think there is a possibility that I can go for a Salah. But the upside is definitely there for the Chelsea players. If you want to target a different player, a different single game week player, Harry Kane against Brentford is also an option, but I personally won't be going there, guys. Kevin De Bruyne is very interesting because I think he's going to start, he's going to get minutes against Watford. We know Watford are a very average team. They're not doing that great defensively. Kevin De Bruyne looks like the man in form. He will definitely make that Man City tactic, and I think there's a good chance that he can get a lot of FPL points this week. So by chance, if you have De Bruyne in your team, there's a good upside with him. You can definitely captain him against Watford. The final option is another double game week Chelsea player, guys. If you want to just go absolutely all out, if you want to go absolutely crazy, you can even go for Timo Werner. He's a super risky pick because we don't know if he's going to start both. We don't know what formation Chelsea are going to play, whether he's going to be very effective in that sort of play. We don't know that. So there's a lot of unknowns involved in terms of Werner. But again, if you are chasing massively, if you are lagging behind in your mini leagues, you can definitely go for Werner for the double game week. So guys, who are you captaining for double game week 34? Do let me know in the comments below. That'll be all from my side, guys. I really hope you'll find this video helpful in setting up your final teams for double game week 34. Now make sure you hit the like button if you liked the team selection video. Please consider subscribing to the channel as well. Now we'll be back now for the deadline stream, guys. So do join us if you have any last minute questions or transfer queries. All the best to all FPL managers. Enjoy your week, and I'll see you in Saners next time.